Joe Amato's car moving to the staging lanes for the semifinals in the top fuel division. As Amato gets ready to go, we continue, though, with the Chief Auto Parts Winternationals in the Pro Stock division. We already saw that one semifinal matchup. And now we're ready for the second semifinal. Bob Glidden going up against Jerry Ekman.
And Jerry Ekman is in the bright yellow Pontiac automobile, now based out of Central Ohio. Has 5 wins overall in his Pro Stock career. A lot of guys would kill for that. Bob Glidden, comparing the two, has won 80 times, if you can imagine that. Not even our pal Don Garland's here is even close to that. In fact, no one is. A record that may never be broken. Right, they move forward to stage. The yellow car is Ekman. The red car is Glidden. No one real anxious here to get the job done, Don.
It's a staging duel, and sometimes these Pro Stocks really get into them. It's an advantage sometimes to stage last, depending on how you have your clutch pedal set up. And so in this case, I don't think Bob wants to stage first.
That would appear to be. Let's see who breaks first. It's going to be Ekman. Ekman says, I'm done playing this game. Glidden finally nudges in. A great start. But it is Ekman controlling the race. Oh, Jerry Ekman, a 7:17 at 192 miles per hour to a 7:29 for Glidden, not even in the hunt. And that is a new national record.
So the final is set now in the Pro Stock. Jerry Ekman coming off the 7.17 will have the lane choice in his final against Jim Yates. What a setting as we move back now. The in-car camera of Joe Amato and the semifinals in the top fuel. Amato getting ready to match up with Kenny Bernstein. Those two, along with Pat Austin, 3 of the 4 basically that most feel will get to the 300-mile mark first. Well, that 4th we have not seen so far today because it's been a very disappointing weekend for him. Earlier, though, Steve Evans had an opportunity to talk with that 4th person in the equation to find out what went wrong.
In many ways, the biggest surprise of this Winter Nationals is not what has happened, but what didn't. Don Perdome, who was favored to be #1 in top fuel, didn't qualify, and I know you're as stunned as we are.
Well, we sure are. We had a lot of problems with the car. It tested well at Bakersfield, at Phoenix. We run 488, 295, and we're all set to come here and run well, but from just the minute it came off the trailer, things started going bad for us, Steve. I don't have to tell you that. You watched every run, and it's just one of those things. That's what happens in drag racing, but we'll be back.
I don't think there's any doubt that Don Perdome will fit into that equation that we're just talking about now. Will one of these two, Bernstein or Amato, surpass 300 today?
It's a classic matchup. The #1 car in the world, Joe Amato. The #2 car in the world, Kenny Bernstein. Side by side, only one will go to the final round. And it will be Bernstein. Dale Armstrong reacts. Almost a dead heat, and it was Kenny Bernstein's driving ability off the line that made it work. Don's with Dale Armstrong.
I love that driver.
Boy, I mean, when it comes down to races like this, he saves us. I mean, he's done that so many times for us, and we're just trying to creep up on it. I'm just thankful we got by that one.
Well, you are creeping up on it.
Yeah, 2,000ths at a time or 100ths at a time. I don't think it's going to make it if we don't take bigger steps.
We won, Dale. That's what counts.
Thank you,
So often you see photo finishes in horse races. We almost had a photo finish here at the NHRA Winter Nationals, Don.
We certainly did, Joel, but the starting line is what made the difference. Amato's car was going to be faster and quicker in this run. Kenny Bernstein has struggled this entire event with his car's performance, but he made it up on the starting line. He made the car leave first, and first it stayed the entire run.
Talk about a tough loss for Joe Amato when you stack up favorably with the numbers but still come up short.
The race of the weekend, your 498 beat his 495. Great driving.
Oh, thank you. I got to say, for Wes and for Dale, to make the car go from A to B, as much as we struggled, was great for the Budweiser King. And for Amato, when you go up there, if you're not ready, he's going to blow you away. And so it pulls the best out of you to do that.
Now you got to hope that 98 will hold up for lane choice. You need all the aces.
We need everything. We need our luck at Pomona to keep right on going. But Austin will be tough, too, if he gets there.
He just may. Let's find out.
Kenny Bernstein referring to the fact that he has not really had all that much luck in top fuel on the quarter mile here at Pomona. Well, Kenny Bernstein is on his way to the final, and who will it be now? Pat Austin or Jim Head? Who will be matching up with Kenny Bernstein?
When it comes to luck, Jim Head in the near lane has had more than one guy could even ask for in a single day. He was in the 7s round 1, coasted down in round number 2, but now he's up against the national record holder, Pat Austin, in the far lane. Austin loses traction, cannot recover. Jim Head finally has a very decent run. 5:05, 277 miles an hour. That is the shock of the day so far. Don Garlits is back at the starting line with crew chief team owner Walt Austin to find out what happened.
When you run on the edge like that, it's hard to know when you got a little too much, isn't it?
Well, I guess it's pretty obvious, Don. They shouldn't have done that. We didn't do anything to do that. But it happened. It's drag racing.
So the final is set in the top fuels at Pomona. Kenny Bernstein against Jim Head, and Bernstein will have the lane choice. We'll be right back after these messages from your local station. A jam-packed LA County Fairgrounds. We welcome you back to the Chief Auto Parts Winternationals, Pomona, California. Joel Myers along with Steve Evans and Big Daddy Don Garlits. We continue now with the funny car semifinals. Jim Epler and Dale Poldy.
I think Dale Poldy, we're looking at the Paisano car, was the #1 qualifier, and you'd think it'd be a real favorite here. Well, that young man, Mike Klober, being added to the crew of Jim Epler, has made all the difference in that car's performance. This is now a first-rate professional team that plans to run the entire season. They have just cruised through qualifying and eliminations with these steady 520s, Don.
You know, every round, the people must be thinking, well, this is the end of Jim Epler, and every round he goes one more time. And you know there's not a person in the stands that doesn't think that Poldy's not going to win this round.
He may. Then again, he may not. Epler slowed up a little bit, but still quick for this time of the day at 5:34, 270 miles an hour. Don Garlits is with Mike Klober on the starting line.
Looks like you've put that thing in the finals, Mike.
Well, it's to be honest with you, it's my first time as a crew chief on my own in the final round. I got to thank all my guys. They've done a super job. None of the guys on my team, with the exception of myself, are professional fuel racers. These guys are all alcohol funny car guys from the neighborhood that we put together here to get here. I'm so happy. We got rushed the last round, and we're just going to give them all we can in the final. Thank you.
Go get them.
A great story developing all afternoon long in Pomona as Jim Epler has made his way to the finals. Now, who will be up against Epler as we look at the car of John Force? They get it started, of course. Force the favorite coming in this weekend for the Winternationals. He'll be matching up with a young man who's another big surprise this weekend, Mark Sievers. He knocked out Cruz Pedregon in the last confrontation in round number 2. Let's go down with the winner of the last race, though, is Steve.
Jim Epler and team came to Pomona hoping for a good, solid performance. Instead, you've been, well, not dominating, but you've been right there every round.
Well, that's consistency, I guess. I just thank the Black Diamond Mac friends for getting us here.
It fell off a little bit. It fell off a lot at 5:34.
Did it? Yeah. I don't know why. I think it was just a little down on power. We lost the brakes coming in here, but I think we'll get her for the final.
Well, your crew chief, Mike Klober, he knows this racetrack always gets better for the final.
Yeah, the air gets better, and track should get a little better, so we'll step her up.
Jim, get excited, buddy. You're on the way to the finals, but bad news now as Mark Sievers pops the hatch open, and Don, it looks like the day is over for Mark Sievers in his matchup with John Force.
Something went wrong with the car when they went to start it. They're not going to be in contention, and John Force will be taking a single.
As we watch the body come up on John Force's car, that's routine, by the way. I have to tell you, Mark Sievers has one of the best attitudes of any race car driver I have ever met, win or lose. And going a few rounds here today at Pomona has just been a ball for him. In fact, Don Garlits has rounded him up.
What happened?
No oil pressure. We bought it getting back together, and we sheared the drive off, found it, fixed it, but didn't have enough time to start in the pits. Came up here figuring that we had it. We changed pumps, drives, everything. I sat there for as long as I figured I should with no oil pressure, no prime, no oil.
Better luck next time.
I thought he had a good attitude. John Force going for lane choice. Racing the clock. And he will have lane choice over Jim Epler, a 5:28 at 271 miles per hour. Now that car fell off a full tenth of a second from its earlier 5:18. Let's see if Don Garlits can find out why.
Well, it slowed just a little from that 5:18.
Well, it hurt a little bit on that 18, and we didn't want to take any chances on smoking the tires. Backed it up a hair. It dropped the cylinder. That's the end result, but we can make it come back around for the final.
Very good.
Austin Coyle, crew chief, feels confident about his car and John Force as they move to the final in the funny cars. Force against Epler. Epler, he's never even won a round, let alone make it to a final, and he's going up against Force, who has lane choice. Welcome back to the Chief Auto Parts Winternationals. The young lady we're looking at right now that's working on straightening out those shroud lines, the wife of Jim Epler, Susan Epler. Hard at work in the pit, Steve.
Yeah, but Jim, he's still making sure it's done exactly right, wouldn't you? The pressure has really shifted to this young man, Mike Klober, the crew chief for the Epler organization. He was with Don Prudhomme for a number of years. Took about 2 years off. Now he's up against one of the best crew chiefs in the world, Austin Coyle, seen here firing up John Force's car. Force sitting in the cockpit with the breather apparatus. The nitro fumes accumulate between those trailers much worse than they do on the starting line. That will be coming up in a bit. But first, it's a Pro Stock Final.
And the Pro Stock Final has Jim Yates, the car we're looking at right now, matching up with the veteran, Jerry Ekman, who has already won on this track before as recently as a couple of years ago. Yates, on the other hand, has never won anything on the NHRA circuit. He gets his tires ready. And a little bit earlier, we were looking at Susan Epler. Well, Tony Yates was in and helping in the pits as well, changing transmission as Steve caught up with her.
What is a nice girl like you doing in a place like this?
Anything for the team, what can I say? I'm the only one that fits in the car.
Installing the transmission? I haven't seen many Pro Stock wives do this.
Well, I don't get a workout very often on the road, so see, this just keeps me in good shape.
I just thought I'd tell you, your old man is hanging around doing absolutely nothing.
Yeah, we like it like that.
Well, just like the Epler crew, it's a family affair with the Yates crew as well.
I tell you, the Yates crew, they are having so much fun. They started to show a lot of muscle at the end of last year, making it to the semis, but they've never made it to a final. Now that they have, can they parlay it to a win, their first ever? We're about 7 seconds away from finding out. Jerry Ekman, the bright yellow Pontiac in the near lane, the blue and white Pontiac and old General Motors Pro Stock Final round. Let's watch them. Jerry Ekman has pummeled this field today in the Bill Orendorff-owned automobile. Another teen, a 7.19 to go with his national record 7:17. A big top speed, 192 miles an hour.
Well, Jim Yates took a starting line advantage, as we can see on the screen, but it didn't last long. Jerry Ekman's car has just been too powerful all day long. In the middle, it runs so strong. He capped a perfect day with a Winternationals crown.
Jerry Ekman has won the Winternationals yet again. A great job, a 7:19, a huge speed of 192.
Oh, great, Steve. I figured it would run in the teens again. I was afraid we didn't have quite enough clutch in it because it cooled down pretty quick, but you know, Steve, I don't even know what to say. I said if I ever got back to the winner's circle here, I'd have a big speech. I'm lost for words. All I can thank is my sponsors, Pontiac and Pennzoil, and my teammates for the job they do to let me drive this fast car.
I'm sure they thank you as well for a great job.
Well, thanks a lot, Steve. And we're thrilled to be here, believe me.
What a way to start a season.
We are now ready for the showdown of the top fuels. It'll be Kenny Bernstein and the surprise on the other side of the track, Jim Head.
Kenny Bernstein only got this far through his slick driving ability. You saw that against Amato. Jim Head only got this far because of a lot of luck. And let's remember in the previous round, Head ran a 5:05. Starter Buster Couch, very animated. He wants these two cars up and racing. I think this is a good race, Don Garlitz. This is not going to be a runaway either side.
No, it certainly isn't.
The nitro planes licking at the wings in twilight. It is Kenny Bernstein of 496, Jim Head of 498. But Bernstein made it look even worse than it was. He had 700 of a starting line advantage off the starting line, and that's an immense hole shot.
Well, Kenny Bernstein wasn't going to let this one get away. Look at those wheels in the air. Dale Armstrong had that car tuned to perfection, and Kenny Bernstein was wired into the starting line system. He welded Jim Head to the line and won the race.
You guys got behind a little bit with this car, but you never panicked.
Well, you know, that's a hats off to Dale and Wes Cerny and the crew again on the Budweiser Quaker State Top Fuel car. And, of course, I got to say thanks to Dynamax coming aboard and Mac Tools, but they kept at it all weekend. I mean, who would have bet on us last Thursday? I sure wouldn't have.
You may be hard to catch this season.
It's a long year. You got some great competitors out there, believe me. And Jim Head and them, they ran great. I'm proud of them, too, believe me.
We all are. Kenny Bernstein, what a champion.
So Kenny Bernstein, who won here in a funny car back in '87, does it now in '92 in a Top Fuel. And a well-deserved victory lap for his crew.